took a very long time coming. The outburst of runs, that is. 23 consecutive scoreless innings, to be exact, before the Phillies offense decided someone must pay. Pay for all the goose eggs popping up on the scoreboard the last few games. Also taking a long time coming was the next milestone for Cole Hamels. It took 8 years, 6 days, and 249 starts since his major league call-up to notch his 100th career win. Last night took a long time coming, but it was worth the wait. It's always a fun day here at Citizens Bank Park, a little Sunday baseball, but it's also the Phanatic's birthday. That's exciting for everybody that's coming through the gates here at Citizens Bank Park. You've got the band out in, I guess that's a band out in Ashburn Alley, and also the Superstars will be in town. Sundays with Schmidt, the Reds, and the Phils, the final game of this 3-game series. Last night, Cole Hamels obviously picked up career victory number 100, and here are the all-time wins leaders. He joins these other greats. And that's one thing he pointed out last night, that he knows the history of the Philadelphia Phillies and is appreciative and respectful for where he sits. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Mike Schmidt and Matt Stairs. As we get set to wrap up this series against the Cincinnati Reds, we talk about Cole Hamels, how good he was last night, and now we turn our attention, Matt, to Cliff Lee, because he's going to get the baseball today.
Well, he really doesn't have to change nothing what he's done the last few outings. I'd like to see him try to get a win at home this year. It's amazing how his ERA is so low, under 2. The thing you're going to get from Cliff Lee is pretty much the same as Cole Hamels last night. You're going to get that fastball inside the cutter, the front door two-seamer. Today, the very most important thing is to keep the ball down the zone and keep the hitters off balance with the changeup, mixing the curveball once in a while. And I tell you right now, the hitters better be ready to hit, because his tempo is very quick. Well,
and last time out, he was very effective. It was the errors over at third base by Cody Asche that led to the unearned runs, but the Phils wound up losing that one. Now, speaking of Cody Asche, well, Mike, last night, Cody Asche and Dominic Brown came to life along with the Phils offense.
Yeah, they sure did. They got off in a timely fashion last night, Tommy. First, Cody Asche, he's only been in the minor leagues, or was in the minor leagues for 2 years, and he only had one season where he had over 500 at-bats, and he hit 324 in that season. Matty would agree with me that good hitters can tell who's going to hit. And I want to tell you right now, he's going to hit. And it wasn't just because of last night that I'm saying that. I've always said that. Now, Dominic is a little bit of a different story. Dominic made the All-Star team last year, hit 27 home runs, almost 80 RBIs. He shouldn't have confidence problems. He should be a bully at the plate. Last night we saw it a little bit. I think he's getting to where he only has like a little happy zone and it's down and in. I'd like to see him have a little more top hand, to use his hands a little bit more, take a little off that swing to create some singles and doubles in between home runs. I'd like to talk to Matt about that a little bit more later in the broadcast, but it's just great to see the guys score last night. Momentum's carrying their way today.
And they hope that it does. 12 runs last night, hoping for a dozen again here today in the final game of this 3-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. Cliff Lee on the mound for the Phillies, another lefty, Tony Cingrani on the hill for the Cincinnati Reds. Well, there was a lot of offense last night, and there was a lot of plays away from the diamond. Some good plays and some not so good plays. How about Ruiz? He was awake. Camera guys, well, they were struggling a little bit, as were some of the folks in the stands. They tried. Oh, they tried. And when it was all over, they could discuss it. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, introducing one deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Toyota. The Toyota Time Sales event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Budweiser, here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross, live fearless. final game of the series against the Cincinnati Reds and this homestand for the Phillies. It's the Phanatic's birthday. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Reds, brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at center field, Billy Hamilton. Chris Heisey's in right field. He'll bat second. Brandon Phillips hits third, followed by Todd Frazier and Devin Mesoraco. Ryan Ludwig's in left field. He'll bat sixth. Zach Cozart hits seventh. Neftali Soto, the first baseman, will bat eighth, and Tony Cingrani will hit ninth. And they'll face Phillies left-hander Cliff Lee, who really was a tough luck loser the other night against the Angels. Overall, he's 3-4 with an ERA of 3.23. Matt, not too many walks. 69 hits and 61 in the third innings of work.
Throws a lot of strikes, and one thing he likes to do is control the tempo. That's what's going to happen tonight in this day game. He's going to go out and throw strike after strike and let the hitters put the ball in play early. There's a scouting report, 87 to 92 mile an hour fastball. In his career, 6-2 with a 3.69 ERA.
So he'll get to work against the speedster Billy Hamilton. Hamilton so far 1 for 8 in the series. He shows bunt, takes low. 1 ball and no strikes. This guy got on in the first at bat to open the series and was causing all kinds of problems as he bunts that one to the right side. He's going to be aboard with a base hit. Just not much you could do on that. Utley tried to shovel it with his throwing hands.
Well, that's one of those perfect bunts, Matt. Tell you what, I'm surprised that isn't done more often than that. If you know you're getting a fastball, you can push that bunt that way with that kind of speed. Man, that's a base hit all the time. But it's not as easy as it looks, right?
No, it's not.
They say that he's kind of patented that in the minor leagues and has taken it up here to the big leagues. He truly tries to get it between the mound and first base, particularly when there's a left-hander on the hill, because he's falling off a lot of times to the third base side.
Especially if he can get the first baseman thinking he has to field the ball, too. I mean, that's definitely a hit.
That'll bring Chris Heisey to the plate, and Heisey shows bunt, takes low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Cliff will indeed have to keep an eye on Billy Hamilton. He's been aboard in the first inning of 9 games this year, and he has scored 7 times, including the first game of the series.
Well, they had him jumping back right there.
We mentioned this the other night. He doesn't take a big lead. You know, it's kind of a conservative lead for somebody of his speed. He didn't get his uniform dirty once the other night on throwovers to first.
You know, a good base stealer doesn't need a big lead to steal bases. The key is to take a lead where your first move is towards second base, as opposed to being a little unsure whether you're going to your right or to your left. And if you take a big lead, you're thinking back rather than second base.
Well, Cliff walks Heisey on 4 pitches. Time now for our Nissan keys to this afternoon's ball game.
Well, the big thing is that Cliff Lee needs to keep the ball down in the zone, get those swing and misses and the ground balls.
How about for the offense, Mike?
Well, my key is an offensive key, obviously, for the Phillies. I'd like to see some good at-bats in the middle of the order against the left-handed pitching. You know, we struggle against left-handed starters, and hopefully we can follow up last night with some good at-bats in the middle of our order.
Well, this is a tough spot for Lee. Nobody out. Runners on first and second. And Brandon Phillips, who is 2 for 7 so far in this series, will be the hitter. Hamilton's going. He got a late start. The throw by Nieves, though, on the third base side of the bag. That's his 15th stolen base of the season.
No, Tom, you're right. He got a terrible jump. Cliff gave him a no look. Quick pitch to home, and Nieves threw it to the wrong side of the bag.
Yeah, he actually was doing us a favor right there, trying to steal with no outs. I mean, we didn't get off a good throw, but I think with a good throw we might have had him. And also a point to make here is that the runner on first base wasn't ready for him to take off for third, so he's still stuck on first.
So the double play is in order here at the top of the first. No balls and 1 strike to Brandon Phillips. Takes low, 1-1.
All right, come on.
That stolen base for the Reds is the 13th stolen base for the opposition against Phillies catching in 15 attempts so far this month of May. 2-1.
Phillies are basically conceding the run here. Phillips can hit a ground ball, trading a run for a double play, hopefully.
Now they've got him picked, and Howard looks at third. Now they're going to try to get Heisey in a rundown. Hamilton's dancing down the third base line, and Howard trying to run him down. Now he's going to come to the plate. So they've got Hamilton caught for a moment, but he gets back. Wow.
I was just about to say, we worked on this in spring training. Remember how much they work on this in spring training? You hardly ever see it during the season. How do you score that one, Tommy?
I think they scored at a stolen base after it's all said and done, with a whole lot of throws in the middle.
The only thing that could have been done different right there is once they see Hamilton's caught off third base so far is when Ryan Howard runs towards the runner and freezes him and let him make the commitment going left or right. Once you start charging at him, and then it's his decision what to do.
Well, Jimmy had the right thing going there. He had the runner going back to second. His momentum going so hard he couldn't stop, and Ryan just didn't close the door when he caught the ball and put the tag on him, and he was able to reverse and go the other way without being tagged by Ryan.
Ground ball to short, so a run will come home. And the throw across the diamond is in time to get Phillips. So the Reds take a 1-0 lead here in the top of the first. An RBI for Phillips, his 14th of the year.
This is where Ryan decides, instead of giving up so early and throwing the ball there, if he runs automatically right at him and makes him freeze, now he has to make the decision going left or right. But giving the ball up so early to home plate gives Hamilton a chance to go back in to third base safely.
Yeah, because Hamilton sees Heisey's at second, so if he can get back, then it's a good situation. And he jumped to third almost immediately as he saw Ryan Howard turn to the plate. Todd Frazier fouls one back. It's 0-1.
I guess there were a few things wrong in that play.
Oof.
Nice telestrator work there, by the way.
It was very nice, man.
Thanks. Watch Jamie do it.
0-1 the count. Swing and a miss to the changeup. 0-2. Wonder if there wasn't the pickoff play, if the Phillies would have even thrown through. Maybe they would have in the first inning with Hamilton over at third to get Heisey if he was going to continue to second.
I think they were definitely in the concede the run mode, especially with Hamilton at third base.
Hamilton now with 15 steals in his first full year in the big leagues. That one's out towards short, not hit that hard. And Frazier's retired. 2 outs here in the first.
And one thing we never really talked about was Cliff Lee keeping Brandon Phillips from being able to hit the ball to the right side to advance the guy from second base and score the guy from third base. Because that right there would have been an easy ground ball RBI in that situation. But he made a nice pitch to Brandon Phillips to keep the ball down in, ground ball short, get the guy at second base.
Here's Mesoraco. He homered in the first game, and he rips that one to left field. That's going to be a base hit going down to the corner. Man, this guy is red hot. Heisey will score, and it's 2-0 Cincinnati.
Is that what they call ambushing a first pitch fastball?
He certainly did
Wow.
that. Now, the other night it was a cutter against Kyle Kendrick that he hit for the 3-run home run.
Actually, you got lucky he got around that ball a little bit. If he would have stayed inside that, you could have been looking at another home run in the first inning.
So the Reds take the early lead. Ryan Ludwig is the batter. He's 0 for 6 in the series with a walk. On the outside corner, it's 0-1. Ludwig's average has dropped to 248. Only 1 hit in his last 16 at bats. in front of a changeup, and he fouled it away. Ludwig has played for the Indians, the Cardinals, the Padres, and now the Reds. He's also played for the Pirates at one point. Nice catch by that fan. He's got the giveaway for today. Popped him up. That'll be out of play again. So long at bat for Ludwig. No balls and 2 strikes. Cliff's fastball's about 89, 90 at this point here in the first inning. Curveball in there for a called strike 3. So the Reds do score a couple of runs. One on a ground out, one on a double. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Cincinnati 2 and the Phillies coming up. As the Phillies will get up for the first time, let's take a look at their starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Will Nieves bats second. Then Chase Utley and Ryan Howard. Marlon Byrd is in right field batting fifth. Cody Asche sixth. Dominic Brown will bat seventh once again. He's in left field. John Mayberry gets the start in center field. He'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is Cliff Lee. And they will face left-hander Tony Cingrani, who's coming off the disabled list for this start. He was on the DL with shoulder inflammation. 2 wins, 2 losses. Batting average against is very good, just a .220 mark. He was pretty good last year for the Reds. And our Budweiser scouting report.
Yeah, they've changed his motion a little bit. He used to be a guy that would have that big whip, and all of a sudden they just told him, just bring your arm up. And they said he averaged about 85 or 86 last year. Now he's up to 93. Very good pickoff. He lives at the top of the strike zone.
Delivers a strike to Jimmy Rollins, so it's no balls and 1 strike to Rollins, who's 1 for 7 in the series. Ben Revere, by the way, is back with the club after the stomach flu. He was out taking batting practice today. One ball, 2 strikes to Rollins, who's hitting .261, 4 homers and 17 runs batted in.
Almost looked like Jimmy was taken up to 2 strikes there to me. He took the second fastball right down the middle.
Fouls it away. He has been more patient this year, Mike. I don't know if it's something that he decided to be, but he has been more patient. I wondered when he was moved back into the leadoff spot if he would try to go after those first pitch fastballs, which he used to do quite often.
Well, you pick your spots for that, but leading off the game isn't one of them.
Toward left field. It's pretty well hit. Going back on it is Ludwig. It is gone! Leadoff home run number 46 for Jimmy Rollins. And he's just given the Phils their first run of the day. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Matty hit that one right through the wind. I don't know whether the wind is a factor here. The flags are sort of blowing left field to right field. That ball was really hit. Maybe it was a good move. Taking those 2 fastballs right down the middle.
Well, he just made a winner out of Barbara Kearney from Prospect Park in our McDonald's home run jackpot. $100 for Barbara.
It's just a fastball right down the middle, and I agree with Mike. He cut the wind because he hit it below the wind. It was a line drive left field, but you can see the point of contact. Head down, drove the ball. Had a great idea of what he was doing with the first 2 pitches.
So he gives the Phils their first run. It's a 2-1 game. No balls and 1 strike to Will Nieves. Nieves, for the first time in his career, is batting second in a ball game.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan likes that catcher in the 2-hole.
Probably means Luis is going to stay there on Tuesday, so I'm not going to mess this up. That one's hit well out toward left field. Ludwig going back. That one is gone! Back-to-back home runs! Rollins and Nieves, and we're all tied up at 2. Sometimes you got to have a feel as the skipper.
Well, you can't hit a home run every at-bat unless you do it the first 2.
First home run of the year for Nieves. Just like that, it's a clean slate.
Yeah, both balls hit well. Neither one was cheap. There is such a thing as a cheap one, but both balls hit really well.
And especially this one, a high fastball, top of the zone, got on top of it, very nice, and drove it to left field, just like he practices in batting practice. He loves to hit home runs in BP.
Let's see if Chase Utley can follow suit. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. So Rollins and Nieves go back-to-back.
Yeah, they're making it look a little too easy for Chase here. A little different story, lefty on lefty.
Chase pulls it foul. First time this year the Phillies have gone back-to-back in home runs. J-Roll chatting with Larry Bowa. Larry knows something about home runs, doesn't he, Schmitty?
Yeah, they're hard to hit.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to hear it on Tuesday. Outside, 1-2. It's only the 5th time in club history that the Phillies have gone back-to-back with the leadoff hitter and the number 2 hitter in the first inning. Last time was 2004. Phillips to his left, and he throws out Utley, 1 out. Because of those home runs, 1 more tree, in this case 2, will be planted by the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society as part of Home Runs for Trees, a partnership between the Phillies, PHS, and Aramark. Home Runs for Trees is part of a project to restore the region's tree coverage. For more information, visit phillies.com/red-goes-green.
Well, that's interesting. Where do they plant those trees?
All over the city.
All over the city.
Yep.
And put a little label on them or something?
Yeah, they planted one here. It turned out it was a Cody Asche home run that symbolized the one that was planted here.
They put the player's name that hit the home run on it?
There's a tag on it.
Interesting.
Schmitty would have had a forest.
I was going to say you would have been able to.
Can you designate where you want your tree planted?
That's a good question. I bet you could as it goes forward. There would have been developments all over the Delaware Valley that would have opened up and would have been happy to plant some trees when you were aboard. Ryan Howard's down
you don't
on
see
strikes.
that very often either. Referring to the catcher throwing the ball down the infield, firing it out to left field.
He's just trying to get everybody involved. Whoop. No chance. So 2 outs. Here is Marlon Byrd. Byrd is 2 for 9 in this series. Pretty good sigh of relief for Cliff Lee. Down 2-0 going to the bottom of the first, and the Phillies get the 2 runs right back. And quickly it's 0-2 to Byrd. Fastball, and Byrd is struck out. So back-to-back strikeouts for Cingrani. But the Phillies get a couple runs. Back-to-back home runs to start the bottom of the first. Jimmy Rollins went first. Then Will Nieves, the first time he's ever batted second in his life. He starts his day with a home run. Third, the Phillies will start a 3-game series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It winds down on Sunday the 25th. That plastic Ryan Sandberg Louisville Slugger bat is going to be given out to fans 14 and under. Compliments of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 98. For tickets, you can go to Phillies.com. We go to the second. Zach Cozart leads it off.
I know you guys probably talked about it the last couple nights. This lineup looked a little different without Votto and Bruce.
Huge difference. Wow. Votto, they hope will come back shortly. They've got to go to Washington after this. Jay Bruce is expected to get back quicker than expected after the arthroscopic surgery. When you think about them, 3 games under 500, they're pretty fortunate considering Bruce has been out a lot of this year, and now Votto's been out the last few days.
Well, it definitely takes a lot of thunder out of your 3-4 spot and puts guys in there that probably aren't used to hitting that area.
Cozart fouls it away.
He's taking Utley and Howard out of our lineup,
which has happened way too much the last few years. With that, Frazier becomes more of a focal point, the leading RBI guy for the Reds. Nieves will take a look at this one over toward the Phillies dugout, but it's out of play. Nice catch.
That's why you bring your glove, huh?
That's right. Particularly if you're sitting that close to the field.
You think this guy knows if he drops this ball, he'd have gotten booed? Huh?
But it was funny, those guys coming up behind him thinking, I got it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if he called it.
I have to tell you, though, Mike, that I went down to see a friend of mine today who was here with his family in the Hall of Fame Club. And his daughter is using his first ever glove as that ball is floated out toward left center. And Cozart is aboard. It's a Mike Schmidt model.
Oh, really? That's an old one. It's gonna be pretty beat up.
It is beat up. It still looks like it could take some throws though. Here's Neftali Soto.
Should get
150 hitter.
Should get a half a out or something when a fan makes a play like that in your home ballpark.
Soto is 1 for 3 in yesterday's ball game. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, is the home plate umpire. Paul Emmels over at first base.
I watch a lot of obviously a lot of games on TV. Matt, Tom, I just can't believe that the shrunken strike zone. I don't know whether you guys agree with me on that, but I just it's mind-boggling to me how small the strike zone actually is now.
That's outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. And the evolution, I mean, every year it's different. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but it's small. It's smaller than when you played, Mike, but every year it seems to be different. And it's different from umpire to umpire, too, obviously. Out toward right, Marlon Byrd on the run toward the corner, toward the wall, makes the catch. Back to first goes Cozart.
It's funny, and it should make for better hitting. You know, smaller strike zone, you should be ahead in the count more often. But pitchers have kept up with it. They don't seem to get bothered by it as much as pitchers did back in the day. In fact, I saw the left-hander for Oakland last night got kicked out of a ball game for actually Kazmir for looking cross-eyed at an umpire. You know what I mean? For actually questioning an umpire.
The ball's butted back toward the mound. Lee off the hill quickly. 2 outs. During the 2014 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Mike, when you say the strike zone is shrunk, you're not only talking top to bottom, but are you talking left to right too, inside outside?
Everywhere. I mean, it's obviously more top to bottom than left to right, but I mean, it's mind-boggling sometimes the mostly the inside corner pitches that are called that look to be strikes on TV. Sometimes the angle from the center field camera could be off a little bit, but the pitches inside that are called balls are mind-boggling to me. And you know, and a lot of it's got to do with where the catcher's set up. We're talking about this Kazmir situation in the last night's game. The catcher was actually sitting on the inside corner, and the pitcher Kazmir threw the ball right over the outer third of the plate. The catcher had to reach a little bit, and the umpire called it a ball, and that's what got him kicked out. But it's just small, you know.
I think a lot of people wonder too, with the implementation of replay, there are more umpires because there are 2 crews that are in New York during each series. So they've had to add younger umpires too, and they wondered if that would change it even more because they're coming up for the first time.
You probably know the true definition of the strike zone, right?
Sure. Well, the true is knees to letters. correct?
Isn't it some kind of an area between? They say an area between the belly button and the armpits or something on the upper side.
Yeah, usually right below the jersey, right below the name or the number, the logo that was on your chest was supposed to be, which you'll never see called.
So why is the rule book strike zone that, and that there is never a pitch called above the waist in a game?
It's a good question. That's a good question, because it is, part of the rules. And then when something is called that high, then you get the hitters who are questioning. Fly ball to left, not deep. Dominic Brown comes in. And Cliff Lee is through the second. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left in scoring position. Middle of the second. It's the Phillies 2 and the Reds 2. Going to lead things off for the Phils here in the home second. All right, the last batter, Billy Hamilton, was up at the plate. Now, Matt, take us through what the strike zone should be.
Well, the strike zone should be right along here. Now, unfortunately, nowadays it's not. You very rarely see a high strike called in this area here. And what it does for a hitter is now all of a sudden you think down in the zone. I don't have to think off the plate. I can think anything on the plate. I can get a good swing at it because, one, they can't throw one side to me.
Now, the averages, combined major leagues per game averages, the strikeouts are up, particularly here in 2014 compared to, let's say, 2011.
Interesting article in Sports Illustrated a few weeks back about that. One of the funny things, before I answer your question, was the last game was in 1985 where there was a complete game with no strikeouts. Walt Terrell was one of the pitchers.
Wow.
It was in Detroit. It happened, but 1985 is the last time there was a game with no strikeouts in the game. But your question was, they're up. Yes, they are up. They're up because hitters don't care so much anymore whether they strike out. It's not a big deal. The attitude is generally an out is an out. There's very little choking up on the bat and spreading your stance out and guarding the plate with 2 strikes. Hitters don't give in with 2 strikes as much. And the pitchers generally are all 4-pitch pitchers. And there's a lot they can go to with 2 strikes. In the old days, it's going to be a hard slider in the dirt or a curve in the dirt. Now it's a splitter, it's a cutter, it's a, and it's those other 2, the curve, the high fastball. So, I mean, it's just. You probably could talk to that.
And I agree, and I think, honestly, there's so many people in the bullpen now. You got a specialist lefty,
right,
a specialist right-hander who'll come in to face a job, and he's getting paid big bucks to get one hitter out. And he comes in and he has great numbers versus left-handers, strikes him out, now his day's done.
Did you say out? No, you're exactly right. There's specialists for everything nowadays.
Dominic Brown is retired, 2-3 on the putout.
But I will agree 100% with what you said. When hitters are in the batter's box, they don't choke up. They have the power numbers. They want to hit for the doubles. And like you said, an OUT is an OUT.
That's right.
There you go.
An hoot is an hoot. How do you say it? An out?
I can't remember.
Watch the game the rest of the day, and when batters have 2 strikes, how many of them still have 2 fingers over the end of that knob?
John Mayberry takes outside. It's 1-0. Now, how much would you choke up, Mike, with 2 strikes? I mean, would you choke up with 2 strikes a little bit?
Yeah, probably. You know, just I tell you what I did, and it surely didn't look like it, because I'm probably in the top 10 all time in strikeouts. So I'm not the right guy to tell you a lot about 2-strike hitting.
Well, I know Matt's not.
You know, I knew a lot. Well, I shouldn't say that. I know a lot about how not to strike out. I just couldn't not do it. Wait a minute now. How do I say that?
That ball's hit down the left field line over to the corner. I don't know if it grazed the chair or not, but Mayberry will get to second anyway. So a 2-out double.
Good hitting by John Mayberry.
So you're trying to say, do as I say, not do as I do? You could, and I agree 100%. I struck out a lot, and I never really made the adjustment, but I was in the area where I wanted to try to change the outcome of the game, so I was still going to be aggressive. But a lot of guys, and I agree 100%, they don't shorten their swing up, they don't choke up a little bit, and they don't think about using the big part of the field. Their area is left field, right field.
Well, that'll bring Cliff Lee to the play with a runner at second and 2 outs. Lee hitting 188 this year. Takes outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
I would tell you, every hitter in baseball would be a better hitter if they approached every pitch delivered to them as if they had 2 strikes. They would be short, they'd be quick, they would wait. You know what I mean? They'd wait longer. They'd be less apt to roll over. They'd be more apt to use the whole field. If their approach to hitting was short, quick, and make contact, boom, there'd go, you know, bingo, there one would go. How'd I do that? Well, you were short and quick, and you waited on the ball.
Why can't I do that all the time? 1 ball and 1 strike to Lee. Outside corner, 1-2.
Last thing on that, what you do with 2 strikes is you basically try to identify the ball, because you don't want to jump out there real quick and be fooled by motion. So you're mentally trying to identify the ball and then make whatever adjustment, and it's all in a split second you need to make.
Cliff is down on strikes. The side is retired. 4 strikeouts for Cingrani. Phillies leave one in scoring position in their half of the second, so on to the third. It's a 2-2 ball game. Go to Phillies.com, go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, guys, the question is, Which Phillies starter recorded a hit in all 11 NLCS games from 1976 to 1978? So 76, 77, 78. Which Phillies starter hit in all 11 National League Championship Series games? Answer will be revealed in just a little bit.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
You saying the pitcher got a hit?
No, and that's a good question. It's one of the position players, one of the starting players, not a bench player, but one of the players in the field. So I guess it wasn't you. I figured that would come right to the top of your.
I forgot.
Top of your head.
I'm included in that, right? No, count me out, folks.
There's Chris Heise. He walked his first appearance. He takes low. Heise grew up in the Lancaster area.
I'll throw one out there.
1 ball and 1 strike. I will say that there is a chance that the person is in the ballpark today. Out of play, 1-2. Popped him up. Howard shading his eyes from the sun. I don't know if he sees it right away. Now he does. 1 out. And that'll bring Brandon Phillips to the plate.
Well, Smitty, I got to believe that you might be on your own in this question here.
Well, in the ballpark.
Don't say nothing yet.
All right.
Sometimes they give you a couple innings to think, and sometimes they'll give you 6 innings to think.
It would be great if Mike was the answer to one of these questions, and we had to wait until we got to the answer before he realized he was the answer. 1 ball and no strikes. Brandon Phillips grounded his shortstop his first time up. I have to admit, I've been really impressed with Matt and Jamie's answers. They've gotten, I mean, they've worked together on them, but they've written down answers pretty quickly in a lot of ways.
That's a tough one. I don't know how anybody would know that answer. You take it. I mean, I got some ideas who played in those games.
2-1.
5 at-bats a game.
Sometimes this is how the process evolves. As soon as I said in the park, although the person that you wrote down first, Mike, is in the park also.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what that second name you wrote down was. Well, WGs and M's and.
I guess I can't say.
4 letters is a little easier for Matt to.
He deals in barbecue.
Yeah. Oh, he does. 50 pitches already for Lee. That's in there for a strike. 3-2. Phillips is trying to buy himself a hit, buy himself a walk. Todd Frazier waits on deck. And a called strike 3.
Well, I gotta say, back in the day, a cleanup hitter, a cleanup hitter, 3-1 count, gets 2 fastballs and strikes out. And you walk back slowly, right?
Yeah, it's surprising.
Take them both.
Surprising that he thought that was ball 4. Both of them. Here's Todd Frazier. He also grounded out to short. It's 0-1. Frazier has some friends and family here.
Excuse me, a 3-hole.
Todd, of course, from Toms River, New Jersey. Went to Toms River South High School. at Rutgers University. No balls and 2 strikes.
It's like Cliff's finding a little rhythm now. That's a good sign.
Swing and a miss. He got him. Back-to-back strikeouts at 1, 2, 3 innings. Retired 6 consecutive hitters. We play 2.5 here at Citizens Bank Park. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Top of the order is due up for the Phillies when we return. Size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By WB Mason, you can't go wrong when you buy right. And by Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local Dodge dealer today. We go to the top of the 3rd. It's the Reds 2, the Phillies 2. Sun's out. There are some clouds around, but it's about to be quite a little cool but comfortable day here in the month of May. Rollins with a home run his first time up. 5 home runs now, 18 runs batted in. And it's over for a strike. It's 0-1. .46 career leadoff home runs. And some of them are at the bottom of the 1st. Some, of course, in the top of the 1st. It's such a spark when you can score a first-inning run in the snap of your fingers.
Base hit.
And then you get the A-base to follow suit. That's even better.
This is the pitch he hit out, right? Last time up after taking the fastball.
Balls and 2 strikes to Rollins. And now 3-2.
And we've talked about Jimmy all year, how patient he's been. And honestly, it's because his feet are in slow motion when he's hitting. He's lifting the front foot nice and slow. He's getting back in time, getting that proper load, and then driving to the ball and recognizing pitches.
That's a
walk to Rollins brings the A-base up. And speaking of walks and strikes, Tony Cingrani, Murph, is among the leaders, sometimes in a category he would not want to be in.
Well, that's true. You know, last night, Matt, if I'm not mistaken, one of your keys to the game when facing Homer Bailey was see a lot of pitches, and the Phillies were able to do that last night, and it certainly paid off offensively. Well, that should be their game plan again today when you take a look at our Mazda leaders, because Tony Cingrani is second worst in the National League in terms of throwing strikes. You just saw on the bet right there as Jimmy Rollins watched a couple balls go by. 57% of his pitches for strikes, so certainly not a high mark for Tony Cingrani. So patience may be the play versus him today.
A.J. Burnett's also on that list. Trevor Cahill of the Diamondbacks leads the way. 57.5. Throw over to first, and Rollins is back.
I think, can't that be a little misleading, though, when you talk about A.J., because throws a high percentage of balls, but a lot of his pitches sort of like pass through, or give the image that they are strikes. And he's got a really hard breaking slider, you know what I mean, which can break all the way across the plate, and running fastball in and rider away, and so what I mean, a lot of guys like that throw a lot of balls, but it gives the perception of a strike. Does that make sense?
Yeah, whereas Cingrani, his misses are high fastballs, out of the strike zone. They're not those curves or those sliders that, let's say, Burnett throws.
And Tom, that's an interesting point, though, that Mike is making, because so many times we hear Jamie talk about, or we hear pitchers talk about, throwing those purpose pitches as well out of the strike zone on purpose. You don't want that slider, coming right across the plate most of the time. So, those numbers can be a little bit misleading. But I think, as you pointed out, in Cingrani's point, it is his fastball that's been missing for him, and lack of command.
Foul ball by Nieves. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He seems to me to be a pitcher that wants to get you out after the count is 2-2.
Just throw a lot of pitches. There's A.J. A.J. will start Tuesday for the Phillies against the Miami Marlins. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to Nieves, who homered his first time up. And he lines one to right field, a base hit. Rollins will stop at second. And Izzy will just let that one fly.
I swore I'd never say it. Nice piece of hitting.
You never said it as a manager?
That was a nice piece of hitting. And how would you feel, Matt? How did you feel in a game when you had a home run to your pull side and a line drive single to left field after 2 at-bats? Some good stuff's going to happen, right?
It shows that you have a nice reaction to a high fastball driving to left. Now you see there's a big hole by first base and second that I can stay inside and drive it to right field for a base hit.
So you feel like you're going to put a clinic on today.
So far now he has to hit a triple to center field or a double. Show that he's using all parts of the field. Pretty good to see.
Well, with nobody out, Utley, who grounded out his first time up, will get another shot at Cingrani.
This kind of goes back to the key to the game. We're the middle of the order, the left-handed pitcher. See some good at-bats from these guys here. It's a big key to the game.
Last night against Sean Marshall, left-hander, the Phillies did have some pretty good at-bats. Here getting a chance to face a starter who's a lefty. Utley puts one in the air to center. Hamilton will go back. Rollins tagging. Hamilton's got it. Hamilton's throw to the third base bag. He is out at third base. That was an outstanding throw by Billy Hamilton.
Did that really happen?
Ryan Sandberg's coming out. Rollins is staying on the third base bag. He's thinking he's safe, and he wants them to review that. I mean, Rollins isn't moving.
I cannot wait to see the replay of this.
Looks like he's got him.
Yeah, and that's a tremendous defensive play by Hamilton. This is the first time I've ever seen him play. Throwing Rollins out, tagging up. I'd say moderately deep center field, right?
Yeah, he was. It was definitely deep enough that you would think a guy could go from second to third with Rollins' speed. Now, did he get his foot in ahead of the tag? Rollins says yes. Boy, that's awfully close. And they've decided not to review it. Larry Boa gave the thumbs down.
Good call by Jordan Baker.
The base running snafu there, if you will, is Nieves not being on second.
That's right. Yeah, because he overthrew the cutoff man.
Yeah, he's definitely out. He can see the throw coming into third base, that it's over the cutoff man's head. He should have a very good view of the throw coming in, and Jimmy gets thrown out. We got to have the man in scoring position at second base.
Right, Howard takes outside. It's 1-0. Well, we had heard that Hamilton was a very good athlete. He's a converted infielder to the outfield. That was a really good throw.
Yes, it was.
That'll find the seats down the left field line, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Reds knew that they were going to eventually have to find a spot for Hamilton. They figured that Brandon Phillips had second base locked up, so he made the shift to the outfield.
You know something? I actually think that the shortstop would have cut that ball if it would have been low enough.
Just because he didn't think there would be a play at all.
Right.
There? Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the ballpark thought there's any way you could throw
very
Jimmy
surprised.
Rollins.
Very surprised. And it wasn't as if Jimmy was going slow either. I mean, he was moving.
He caught me off guard. I thought Hamilton was going to come up, throw to second base, keep the double play in order. But he got behind that ball very nice and attacked it and did a tremendous throw.
Howard fouls it away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nieves will be off and running on this pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 men down. Marlon Byrd waits on deck. Howard fights it off. It may have been ball 4. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Braves and a Freddie Freeman home run have taken a 1-0 lead over the Cardinals. That game's in the bottom of the first. Cardinals have been waiting for Jaime Garcia to come back off the disabled list and be back in the rotation. And he's starting today for the Cards. Ball 4, Howard's aboard. That'll put runners on first and second.
That's a good at-bat. I remember in last night's ball game, the inning they batted around and sort of turned the whole scoring thing around. Ryan Howard led it off with a walk by taking a really tough at-bat, fouled off a couple pitches and took a 3-2 pitch and started the inning. Right there, he gives Marlon Byrd a chance to hit against this left-hander now with 2 men on base.
Yeah, so you bring the right-hander up. Marlon did strike out his first time up. 2 for 10 now in the series. He had some good swings last night too. Ooh. Out front, and then fouls one sharply down the left field line. about that high fastball his first time up. And he goes after it there. It's 0-2.
But he's definitely not afraid to throw a fastball. I mean, he's been throwing probably 85% pitches today, elevated fastballs.
Marlon does stay alive as Mesoraco goes out to the mound to talk to Cingrani.
One thing I found interesting with those signs right there was he was going through a lot of signs and saying, you know, this is going to be pitch after 3 or whatever it is, but he finished with giving the up sign. Well, as a guy at second base, you can relay to the hitter, fastball's coming elevation, because he's giving with the hands up. So basically, why go through all the signs?
Because you know it's a fastball then.
Exactly.
So this really goes to what the heart of baseball is all about, the battle with the pitcher and the hitter. Marlon struck out his first time up. It's a left-hander on right-hander. You know, it's a great day for him to be a big part of this ball game. And he goes 0-2 on the left-hander with 2 men on in the second at-bat. You saw him back out of the box and rethink the whole thing. Now Marlon's trying his best to put this ball in play because he knows this is a big at-bat in the game.
And he throws him something soft.
And the pitcher wins the battle.
Yeah. Well, Cingrani has won it 5 times today. That's 5 strikeouts for him. We've played 3 innings. The Phillies lead 2. We'll go to the 4th in a 2-2 game. Original HP cartridges are guaranteed to work the first time, every time, with no runs, streaks, or errors. Get yours from WB Mason, HP preferred partner. Now we go to the 4th, and Mesoraco again goes after the first pitch, just as he did his first time up and had that RBI double. Yeah, this guy has 3 hits coming off the disabled list. He was on the DL for a couple weeks. And he was looking fastball and he got it. So he's 2 for 2. I guess the break wasn't that big of a deal for him.
I like his setup. He starts tall, He goes in that little crouch. He stays in that crouch. Stays through the zone with his barrel. His head doesn't move, and he swings aggressively.
Now Ludwig, he struck out his first time up. He takes outside. It's 1-0.
Now that being said, his three, the home run, the double, the single, ball come off fastballs. So now all of a sudden you put that little wrinkle in it and the hook and see what happens with the changeup.
We might want to start doing that.
He's right on that fastball.
Well, and that's and Mike, you probably agree, is when you're coming off the disabled list and you get a lot of fastballs, it's easy to get your timing down. It's the stuff that the changeups, the sliders, the curveballs, where you have a hard time with your timing.
Another single to center. Mayberry's there, so first and second with nobody out for the Reds. And Zach Cozart's coming up. Monday, May 26th, the Phillies will celebrate veterans and all they've done for our great country. Plus, it's a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night at Citizens Bank Park. Tuesday the 27th is a 7:05 first pitch. Tickets against the Rockies can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. All right, so now the bottom of the order is up. Cozart, Soto, and Cingrani. Cozart singled through the hole on the left side his first time up. And he takes low, 1-0.
This is too far down in the batting order to be thinking about a bunt too early in the ball game, I guess. Cody's playing shallow at third base.
Up the long run out to the outfield. Here comes Marlon Byrd. He'll make the catch. One away. That was a good pitch. Well, that'll bring Neftali Soto to the plate. It's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. We'll get to that photo a little later on.
Kind of looked like Cozart was trying to hit the ball, trying to inside out the ball to right field. It's sort of like a fastball swing, but it was a changeup. And just hit a little blooper.
Well, that's huge now because if you can get
it's
Soto.
very huge. It's very huge. You've got the 8-9 hitters coming up with 2 men on. This is the guy you need.
Starts him off with an off-speed pitch. It's 0-1. To the right side, and Howard has it, goes to second for one, and that's all they'll get.
Well, that's a good play. That was a tough hop, tough in-between hop for Ryan. Very good play.
Plus, he was able to make the flip over to second.
Yep. See that? What could have gone wrong there for any defensive player? That was a nice play. Good hands. Got out of the glove quickly. Nice sunglasses.
No flip downs.
They even make those anymore?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
0-1 to Cingrani. They don't have the same style as the ones that Howard and everybody else wears this day and age. And Cingrani bunts it toward third. Asche bare hands, throws in time. He got him by a step and a half. Second time he's done that in the last couple of days, and the side is retired. I guess Cingrani felt, well, I'm not going to make contact the regular way, so let me see if I can surprise the Phils. No real surprise for Cody Asche. Side is retired. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth. Phillies two. It'll be Cody Asche, Dominic Brown, and John Mayberry to face left-handers Tony Cingrani. Well, this is a heck of a play right here by Cody Asche to finish up the top of the 4th inning. Made a play
it's
like
a heck
that
of
last
a play
night.
because if he doesn't make it, they score a run. It's a heck of a play anytime, but there's a guy on third base running down the line, and if you make a bad throw or don't barehand it cleanly, they get a run.
Well, he made a play like that last night, too. And Murph, he's been able to bounce back from that 3-error night the other day against the Angels.
Yeah, he certainly has. After that game, Cliff Lee was, of course, on the hill. Cliff made it a point to go over to Cody and talk to him and say, keep your head up and stay in the game, as did many of his teammates. And that's exactly what Cody has done. He's really put that game behind him. Take a look at what he's done offensively coming into today's game. Since that game, he's batting .455. He's had 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. And, that's the game of baseball right there. You just got to put it behind you and move on. And you also got a little bit of good advice from a particular Hall of Famer via text message after that game. Mr. Mike Schmidt sent a nice message to Cody. Did you not, Michael?
Yes, Murph, I did. Told him, been there, done that. And didn't want him to think he was the only guy who had made 3 errors in the ball game. I can tell you, after the 3rd one, you pray they don't hit another one to you. And then you keep saying, don't hit it to me, don't hit it to me. And you look out there, and there's Steve Carlton on the mound throwing sliders down and in. And he had to look out and see Cliff Lee.
Well, his teammates, too. Chase Utley, Murph, right? Chase Utley said the same thing and said, listen, we've all been there. And, Matt, what did you say? You said it's going to happen again. So at some point in his career, probably.
Well, everyone's been there. It'll happen again.
I talked to Cody about that today, and I talked to him about Mike's text message and all the messages that he got from his teammates. And, for the guys that play the game at this level and have been playing it their entire lives, they understand that you're going to have days like that. And Cody understood that, but it was certainly as nice when you get the pat on the back, and it's also nice when you hit one back through the box as well for a base hit. So, Cody will be just fine, and that's the message, no doubt about it.
We talked in the opening about, I did anyway, about Cody Asche and his hitting, how good hitters can tell who's a good hitter. And I know Matt and I know that this kid has a wonderful stroke, a great idea at the plate, soft stride, slow feet, fast hands, uses his hands. He'll hunt the ball like he did right there. That base hit up the middle was not a fastball. That was a changeup. He was off balance a little bit, yet his hands were back, and he drove it right up the middle. He didn't try to hit it real hard. He just tried to hit a nice little single up the middle.
Well, his average keeps on creeping, too. It's at 255, considering it was under 200 not too long ago. And that's a good sign that he's been able to strike the ball the way he has recently.
So my 2 keys in the opening were Cody and Dominic. And Matt, the question to you is,
oh, man, what a move. Cingrani froze Asche.
That was my scouting report, that he had a great pickoff at first base.
Did you tell them?
No, I just found out when I was coming to the booth.
Anyway, the point on Dominic is unlike Cody, I don't think Dominic has that swing, where he could be caught off balance, still have his hands back, and just use his hands. There you see the replay of Cody getting picked off. That's like the old Carlton move. Carlton actually had a move that freezes runners. He picked off 10, 15 runners a year.
Steve Carlton, Terry Mulholland had a good move like that, too.
Andy Pettit,
yep. Dominic Brown has struck out, and that's the 6th strikeout for Cingrani.
We'll try to pick up on that hitting discussion in a minute. They got kind of flushed away there, but I think if Dominic is going to become the hitter that we all think he can, he's going to have to learn to have more of a sort of a go-to swing, a swing where he can hunt the ball when he's off balance. A little more hands as opposed to total core turn. I don't want to confuse you, man.
No, and I'm just listening and learning, because I agree 100% with you. He's got, you said nope, he's got that one little happy area right now down and in. And until he makes the adjustments of showing how to go the hands towards the body instead of, you said, that little core swing, it's almost like he uses the upper body and the arms only when he's swinging.
Hit that lady right in the head.
I mean, it's there. 27 home runs last year. The power is there.
Well, I think what you said too, Matt, last night, adjusting the hands a little bit, maybe that'll get him to that point a little easier. No balls and 2 strikes to Mayberry, who doubled his first time up. And he's down looking, so back-to-back strikeouts for Cingrani, and he's racked up 7 through the first 4. We've completed our first 4 innings here in Philadelphia. The Reds 2 and the Phillies 2. Baseball is brought to you by the Quality Plus Sports Stores. Go further. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by Toyota. The Toyota Time Sales Event is going on now. Toyota. Let's go places. We go to the top of the 5th inning. Phillies are celebrating the Phanatic's birthday. Now they're also wrapping up this 3-game series against the Cincinnati Reds. The Superstars were here and are here, entertaining the crowd before the ball game. Phanatic had a bunch of his friends, some of the mascots from the area colleges that were out before the ball game. The Reading Fightins band, mascot band, was out performing on Ashburn Alley. 2 balls and no strikes to Hamilton. Phanatic fans everywhere. Amazing what the Phanatic has become since it first appeared at the Vet. It's incredible. Turned into the best mascot in baseball. And there's a strike to Hamilton. It's 3-1. Merchandise has also exploded. Hamilton bunts it foul. It's 3-2. A guy like this, speed like this, if he has a 3-0 count, is he taken until there's 2 strikes, you think?
Just thinking that same thing. I mean, he should be taking 3-1. However, he knows he's getting a fastball, and if he's that adept at that push bunt, it's a great time to do it because you know that you're getting the pitch that you need to do it.
Which is what we saw back in the first when he was able to bunt for a base hit. 3-2 pitch. And he fouls it off to the right. Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Mets are in D.C. and the Nationals lead New York 3-1. Ian Desmond is homered for the Nats. Reds will go to Washington after this ball game. Out toward right center. Mayberry glides over. 1 away. Well, speaking of the Phanatic was blindfolded as he walked out. Watching the crowd. The Hawk from St. Joseph's flapping as always And there is a Shark McGuire from the Superstars. Opposition man also showed up. He's the villain. He's the Phanatic's arch enemy. Swing and a miss. It's 0-1. It's also that great painting that was going on at second base. Dan Dunn, who's a former caricature artist, he's now turned himself into, I guess you could say, an extreme painter, where he paints these unbelievable portraits in a matter of minutes. And he was spinning that canvas out at second base, painting a picture of the Phanatic, and it was incredible. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Heisey. Heisey's walked. He's also popped out. I mean, it just started with a little splattering of color, and then it evolved into the head of the Phanatic. The head in the hand. Is that what we decided, Matt? The head in the hand? Incredible. Fly ball. Shallow right. Utley is out on the grass making the call. 2 outs. Well, here's the quick time lapse. All this happened, what was it, 5 minutes?
Yeah, very cool.
And that is what the finished product looked like. For the Superstars, including Shark McGuire, Mia Hamster, they were all part of the presentation of not only the Phanatic's birthday cake, but also the birthday card. What did you guys think when you first saw the Phanatic as players? I mean, that was a long time ago.
Oh, well, I don't think we liked anything to be around the park that was more important than us. And it took a few years to realize that the Phanatic was, in fact, David Raymond was more important than any of us players.
Well, I was very impressed when I first saw him, and to this day I still am. Then again, I was never ever playing a whole lot, so I got the chance to sit on the bench and watch, and I enjoyed it. He does a tremendous job.
All those pregame shenanigans with the opposition back in the day at the vet, you know, I mean, he had special things he did with other players. The other players used to take his motor, you know, his four-wheeler.
Oh, yeah. They still do. They take the key. Yeah, they take the key and hide the key.
Does he still mock the opposition when they're introduced?
Yes, he does. The other night he was doing it when the starting pitcher was coming in. He was basically walking with his arm hanging down. Was it Alfredo Simon? Yeah. Hanging down as if it was a dead arm.
You remember when they had, like the Dodgers would come in, and they had Ron Say, the Penguin?
Oh, yeah.
And Steve Garvey, you know, Mr. Perfect and all that. He had little ways to mimic all of those guys. It was hilarious.
Here's the 2-2 to Phillips. Just off the outside corner, 3-2. Well, of course, Tommy Lasorda really liked him, too. Well, he still has that same act going, and it is hysterical.
I invited the Phanatic out to the house one time for one of my kids' birthdays, and he was gracious enough to stop by.
See, you bought into it after a while.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. This is what he was doing, Alfredo Simon. Oh, that was great.
But unfortunately, that night Simon did not have a
dead arm. No,
he didn't. We had some dead bats.
And a line drive base hit for Phillips into left field. And Todd Frazier's coming up.
Couldn't get him to take that fastball like he did the previous at bat. He smoked that thing. Every now and then there's a line drive hit where you say, I'm glad he didn't get that one up.
Yeah. Well, that'll bring Todd Frazier to the plate. Frazier's 0 for 2. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Murph once tried out to be the friend of the Phanatic. Murph, isn't that right?
That is right. Back in 1993, when I answered, I was unemployed and coming out of St. Joe's, and I answered an ad in the Philadelphia Inquirer. It was a very vague ad, just looking for someone with what they called an outgoing personality. I answered the ad. I got an interview. I actually got down to the final 10 to be the friend of the Phanatic. But as soon as the dance portion of the interview happened.
Couldn't do that.
They asked me to leave.
I was just going to say, Murph, I see you standing in section 226.
Yeah.
And I was going to see if I could get you to do some Phanatic moves, but
no.
The head shake. I know the bad.
I might lose this job I have now, Matt, if I start doing that. It all worked out in the end, but I didn't get the gig.
There's a fly ball to right. Marlon Byrd makes the catch. The side is retired. Everyone has a destiny, Murph. Everyone has a destiny. No runs, one hit, and one man left. We'll go to the bottom of the fifth. It's a 2-2 game. Talk about the Phils-Reds series and also the upcoming Marlins-Phillies series and Eagles rookie minicamp and the upcoming NBA draft lottery on Philly Sports Talk presented by Comcast Business. Oh, we're here at Citizens Bank Park. That's right. They're buying into it, Mike. Sundays with Schmidt.
Nice.
Nice handwriting,
Yeah,
too.
I was just going to say. Very nice.
Bottom of the fifth. Reds 2, Phillies 2. Cliff
Good
Lee.
crowd. Good crowd.
It's a nice crowd.
A few
Yeah.
empty seats.
Say, you know, the Phillies start winning here at home again. This crowd is electric when they're behind the club. Even last night, you can sense it with the 12 runs. And once Dominic Brown hit that home run off the, you know, up just over the Budweiser sign, it was loud. Of course, Cole picked up his 100th career victory. Cliff Lee serves one into left field. Speaking of Cole Hamels is part of our Geico quote of the day, talking about his 100th victory. A lot of his teammates were here for the very first win all the way to 100. It is especially special for a great organization and great fans. They have seen quite a few wins here personally or on Comcast, and it is nice to be able to do it for everybody. He was very good in last night's ball game, and we commented that he probably could have gone all 9 the way he was throwing. I mean, he was rolling against the Reds.
Nice piece of hitting by Cliff Lee. I got to say it again.
Twice. Wow. All about positive reinforcement, Mike.
Cliff is a good hitter. He is a good hitter. He's got a good idea up there.
On the outside corner, 0-2.
Cliff loves this guy, but I love to watch Cliff on the bases, at bat, especially pitching. I mean, he plays all facets of the game like a good athlete, almost like with a little boy attitude. It's so refreshing to watch Cliff Lee.
But I'm hoping he has a one-way lead at first base.
Just thinking the same thing.
You think Sammy's over there telling him stay close to the bag?
Don't get picked off. That happened a couple times last year when he was a pinch runner late in games.
I remember that one.
Are you guys seeing anything on his move that he's doing that does freeze the runner?
Well, I was just thinking about his move from a runner's standpoint. What you look for is the right knee, in other words, the front knee going past the back leg. Then he can't come to first.
On one hop, Frazier knocks it down. The throw to second is not in time. Everybody's safe. It might have been easier if he slid. Here comes Brian Price out. They may review it. It looked like he was safe, but they're going to take a look at it. At least the Reds are, to see if they should appeal this.
Well, I don't know what to say other than you could break an ankle trying to stop like that at second base. Cliff should definitely have slid. Oh.
Yeah,
he did beat it. I'll be darned, but he should definitely have slid into second base, especially after all that talk about him being a great baseman.
He was moving pretty good, too. I mean, the way he was able to anchor and keep his foot on the bag. Well, Phillies get a break.
See that?
Tap dancing after the bag, keeping his foot on there. You talked about the hitting and the aspects of the game. He never really worked on a sliding technique.
Yeah, I didn't really mean all the aspects of the game. I forgot sliding.
Oh, well, at least he's there.
And he's healthy.
Only thing I can think of is he's still out there. Now he's got to do some more base running.
Nieves squares and takes outside. And throw to second. He's back. Going to tire the poor man out. Like a cat.
He's aggressive on the secondary lead.
Yeah, that's a beauty of a bunt. Cingrani's got one play. It's at first, and the throw pulls Phillips up a little bit, but he's able to get back down. I didn't see what it clipped.
He slid into
did he?
third. He slid in a little late, though. We get that slide to third base. He's a tad late. He's shaking it out right now. He jammed his right knee, it looks like, on the bag, but we got Cliff to third, Jimmy to second. That was a heck of a bunt right there.
Well, a very good bunt by Will Nieves.
So this is the first game Will Nieves has hit second.
First game.
He's doing quite a job.
Cliff looked like he was jumping up and catching a wave on a surfboard.
Well, now Utley's up. Left side is in. Right side is back. And Utley rolls it toward first. Coming home is Lee, and the Phillies take the lead. It's a 3-2 ball game. An RBI for Chase Utley and a little base running for Cliff Lee.
Did you see that jump he got? Fantastic jump. All facets of the game. You know, I'm surprised that they didn't play in all the way around with Cliff on third base. They were giving him the run.
Well, Cliff, what you taught is a good secondary lead. And he got a good read off the bat. Hesitated just a hair, but he got a good read. And I guess it's that ability to explode with his speed. Got in there standing up at home plate.
That's the first run he has scored this year. Ryan Howard's the batter, and Howard lifts one to right center field. That's pretty well hit. Hamilton going back toward the track makes the catch. And the side is retired. But the Phillies get a run manufactured by their pitcher. We go to the sixth. The Phillies up by 1. The week is doing everything he can to propel the Phillies offense in the right direction. Chase was blazing during the first month of the season to the tune of a .345 batting average. April turned to May and Chase kept connecting. For the first 2 weeks of the month, he is hovering around the .400 mark in on-base percentage. He continues to sit among the National League leaders in average, on-base percentage, and doubles. And his production is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Clammy Sosa is back to celebrate the Phanatic's birthday. This is always a great act where the umpire throws the Phanatic out of the game. And Clammy Sosa, his good friend, comes out and protects him and then spits back the umpire with a little different look. All part of the Superstars. It's a great act, the Superstars. They go from minor league team to minor league team throughout the summer. And they've got a number of different animals that are named after former athletes, like Ken Giraffe Jr., Ichiroch. Today, of course, they have Clammy Sosa. As Mesoraco leads off the sixth, and he takes a changeup for a ball. It's 1-0. Over to third. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Dominic Brown gets to it, but Mesoraco's on his way to seconds. And he'll get there sliding. So that's his second double of the day. And he's 3 for 3.
Very aggressive with the pitch, and like we've seen so far this whole series, he's been staying behind the ball and driving the ball with authority and taking aggressive swings.
Well, they started him off with the changeup on the first pitch instead of the fastball, but he was able to be patient enough to get that fastball. And now Ryan Ludwig, who's 1 for 2. Outside, 1-0. Ground ball softly to short. And that works for the Phils. 1 out here in the sixth.
Yeah, that's poor execution by Ludwig. His job's to advance that runner. He has to hit the ball to the opposite side. I mean, sometimes you're thinking that, but pitcher makes a good pitch, maybe takes a little off, throws something a little sink, a little two-seamer or something, and gets you to roll over just enough to keep the runner on second. That can change the face of the whole inning.
Absolutely. Well, now Cozart. Cozart's 1 for 2. Last time Cozart was up first and second, they got him to fly out to right for the first out of the inning, and the Reds didn't score. I think it's interesting with Will Nieves behind the plate. He hasn't started a whole lot of games. I think this is the 8th start of the year for him, but he hasn't caught, let's say, one guy. He's gone through the rotation basically. A lot of times a backup catcher will be designated for one particular pitcher. Fly ball to short right, and now 2 outs. But he's looked pretty good with all the pitchers that he's had that he's been working with. There are 3 Xfinity postgame fireworks shows to choose from this season. Tuesday, the 26th of June, then the 27th, and then finally Saturday, June 28th against the Atlanta Braves. That's the night portion of the day-night doubleheader. Great summer baseball and the best fireworks show in the region. You can order tickets for those games at Phillies.com. Bob McClure's going out to the mound. I think they're talking about walking Soto and then facing Cingrani.
Yes. Yes, I'm sure they are. I'm a proponent of it. I probably would pitch to the 8-hole hitter a lot less than managers do. I'd walk them all the time. I just walk them. I wouldn't even, pitch around them. I don't care what they're hitting. They're major league hitters. Especially lefty pitcher on right-handed hitter.
It looks like they've decided to either work around him or go after him here. And they go after him. It's 0-1.
Yeah, if you go out and ask Cliff, hey Cliff, what do you think? He said, I can get this guy out. He's only hitting 120 or what. I mean, I don't know what he's hitting. I'm just saying he's the 8th-hole hitter. If I can't get this guy out, I shouldn't be out here. And pitchers want to get hitters out. Pretty healthy cut right there.
Well, with his 0 for 2 today, Soto is 136 right now in the big leagues.
It's one of those things, Matty and Tom, that hindsight will determine whether it's doing the right thing or not. I mean, he gets a base hit, you wish you'd walk him.
They're trying to get through the 6th inning. Over to second base. Chase Utley is there. And Cliff Lee works around the leadoff double on the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left. Flammy Sosa putting on the act that we've grown to love over the years. Who doesn't like umpires? Well, obviously Flammy Sosa does. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Buy the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Buy Budweiser. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. And buy AT&T. Mobilizing your world. Well, Cliff Lee's able to work around that leadoff double at the top of the 6th. Now as we go to the bottom of the 6th, we'll see if his offense can get some runs. Means the pitcher spot will lead it off in the top of the 7th. It'll be Marlon Byrd, Cody Asche, and Dominic Brown.
So did we get a scoring change on that Rawlings?
I don't know if we have. Jay Dunn, who's the Phillies official, scored. Came in to take a look at the replay. They gave Rollins a base hit. in the 5th, which means he'd be a step closer to your record.
That's fine with me. I think it is a base hit. I'll tell you why. I mean, what would be the difference if he hit a medium speed, slow roller ground ball, and the guy would have elected to throw to second and to have beat it? There was no bobble.
Right.
You can't not credit a base hit because you think you can throw the runner out at first. In other words, if the runner on first beats the force play at second, the batter's credited with a hit, correct?
If the runner at first, yeah, that's usually what the case is, yes. There's a fly ball to deep right field, going back out of his Heisey, and it's gone! An opposite field home run for Marlon Byrd. His 5th of the year, and it's a 4-2 ball game. No question about that one.
And remember we talked about with the 2 strikeouts against the left-hander. Marlon answered back with a great home run to the opposite field.
You know, we talk about hitters making the adjustments, and he's been striking out with a high fastball. Gets a little two-seamer low and away. Stays within himself, takes a nice easy swing. Backed off a little bit with a huge swing the first 2 at-bats. Drove to right field for a nice piece of hitting for a home run.
That's number 3. We need more of those.
Now that was a nice piece of hitting. Cody Asche sounded like he broke his bat. Fly ball to right, not deep. Heisey's under it, and he makes the catch.
That's getting an extension right there. Chest out over the plate, head down, full extension.
But the commitment to go where the ball's pitched. We can say everything we want to say about that. You know, I mean, great things happen when you're willing to hit the ball where it is pitched. Especially if you have forearms like Marlon Byrd.
Here's Dominic Brown. He's 0 for 2. 1 ball and 1 strike. Answer your question, Mike. They did change that to a fielder's choice. The Rollins ball from the 5th inning that was bobbled by Frazier.
So why wouldn't it have been an error then? Fielder's choice.
E5 fielder's choice. You know, there must be something with the scoring. That
if he fields it cleanly, he gets the guy out of second base.
That is where he would have gone. Don't you guys agree if it fielded it cleanly?
Yes, he would have. But he knocked it down.
I see what you're saying.
But remember, he didn't field it cleanly because it was hit hard.
Right.
You know, it was scalded at him on a short hop.
Brown pops it up. Mesoraco off with the mask. 2 outs. At the Phillies, 25 people is all you need to take advantage of special group opportunities, including discounts and fundraising opportunities and much more. No matter what size group, there are always benefits and special options. For more information, check out Phillies.com or call 215-463-5000. Well, 2 away. John Mayberry's coming up. Mayberry's 1 for 2. He's doubled and he's struck out.
Funny, back in the day we'd argue those scoring calls sometimes.
Now, would you argue with Larry Shank and he would then make the argument for you?
There were a lot of different ways to do it. You know, you'd call up the press box and talk to the scorekeeper after the game. He'd say something very polite, you know, like, is there any way we can rethink that ball I hit in the 4th inning or something?
Well, here it is.
What a play.
Boom. Okay, now.
E5.
Tough air. Short hop, line drive right in front of him.
Now, Matt, you're saying E5 if they're going to score to fielder's choice, correct?
Correct.
Otherwise, and I think what the thought, I think we're all in agreement they would have gone to second if he had fielded it cleanly.
But he didn't because it was hit hard.
Right. Now, I don't know if there's, and I honestly don't know this, if there's some kind of paperwork rule that if you think the runner at first would have been thrown out if they fielded it cleanly. If you separate the play, if you separate the play at second from the play at first, if that's why they have to decide whether it's a fielder's choice or a hit. I don't know that.
Well, we can always play a game. Let's call a friend, and we can call Larry Anderson and see what he's going to say. You know what LA is going to say.
Well, wasn't he a pitcher?
I was going to say, I'm not sure how objective he's going to be. Bullpen action for the Reds. They've got Manny Parra warming up. With Cliff Lee coming up. Phillies had Jake Diekman loosening up in the bullpen, but they've decided to allow Cliff to bat here. Why not? He had a base hit his last time up.
Absolutely. Looks a good hitter. Plays all facets of the game, except sliding.
You guys have a sliding coach? Was there somebody that
They do. They have a day of sliding in spring training. Thank you.
A balk called by Paul Emmel.
Why wasn't the Asche throw over a balk? Same one.
Now with Asche, he didn't go past the knee, but he may have been coming toward the plate. And there, I think that's what Paul Emmel thought.
I think we got to get Matt on the telestrator here.
Well, from this angle, it's kind of hard to determine because as an umpire at first base, you want to see it's a 45-degree angle. And that's one of those. That's a tough call. It's a judgment call on the third baseman because there's really no line drawn out there. But if his foot crosses over the path of the knee, then it's a balk. But he might have went 46 degrees, and we got the call.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. High 2-1. Hey, Matt. Why are you out of breath?
Because I ran over to see Larry Anderson real quick. He says E5.
So he's in agreement with you.
Yeah, I didn't run. I didn't call. I ran.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to phone a friend.
Yeah, well, we can't use the phone on set.
Phillips throws out Cliff Lee.
I didn't think you'd hear me breathing that heavy.
I didn't even see that you left, but watch this. There he goes. We can document everything here. And then as quick as a cat, sliding past Kerry and then sliding back in. 3 solo home runs today for the Phillies as we take a look at our Honda game summary brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Devin Mesoraco has 3 hits for the Reds, but Jimmy Rollins, Will Nieves went back-to-back in the bottom of the first, and then Marlon Byrd homered in the 6th. And Cliff Lee scored the other run. He's also thrown 6 innings. He's allowed 2 earned runs and 7 hits, so now he'll begin the 7th, and he'll do so against Roger Bernardina, the pinch hitter. It'll be Bernardina, Billy Hamilton, and Chris Heisey. So a 4-2 ball game. Phillies do have bullpen action behind Cliff. Bernardina takes a strike after showing bunt. It's 0-1. Mike Adams is starting to throw in the bullpen for the Phillies. At the knees, 1-2. And that's a fair ball down the left field line. Dominic Brown gets on it quickly, and Bernardina holds up at first. Well, talk about a late swing.
Well, that was good hitting, but great play by Dominic out there. Ball came off that railing out there, nice and sweet, right to him. That's a big play, keeping that guy at first base.
Well, he just sliced that right inside the bag.
And that's the advantage of playing in your home ballpark is knowing the bounces out there and knowing when it's going to cut off and the angle coming out. And nice job by Dominic Brown cutting it off and keeping it to a single.
It's got to be the 4th or 5th this series that's hit that little wall. Here's Billy Hamilton. Hamilton 1 for 3 with a bunt single. And he slaps it foul. It's 0-1. You guys both played in the minor leagues. How incredible is it to think of a guy stealing 155 bases in what would be a 142 game schedule, where he's not going to play 142 games, but to steal 155 bases. That's what he did. He has the minor league record, major league record, or professional record, I should say.
You know, they used to talk about guys that can outrun the ball. You know, actually, there's nobody can outrun the ball, but this guy must be able to.
And a line drive base hit to left field, so 2 on with nobody out for the Reds. These lucky fans are today's Citizens 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship.
Good see a little defense, a little punt defense here. Cody Asche giving the signs to their other infielders and the pitcher. I mean, there's 3 ways to go here. The regular play basically is where Cody has to read the bunt, and either Cliff or Cody goes to first, or Cliff comes to him at third.
Heisey's not going to spare.
Doing us a favor if they don't bunt. But the old theory, you know, on the road, don't bunt on the road, bunt at home if you have last at bats.
I wonder if the middle of the order was a little different for the Reds, if they would think about it here. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
Well, the only thing I can think of is you have a left-handed pitcher on a right-handed hitter. Small ballpark, but I'd be bunting in this situation, man.
Yeah, I think they might have gave him a strike situation, and now all of a sudden you're going to go out and put something on here.
Cliff just lofted that one over the second base bag, thinking he would get Bernardina, and fortunately Utley was there to grab it. Fly ball center field. It's not deep. John Mayberry will make the play. And 1 away.
I don't understand that. I really don't. You got your 3, 4, 5 hitters coming up. Two-hole hitter doesn't bunt. You're down 4-2 in the top of the 7th inning against Cliff Lee.
Yeah, the next two hitters, too, are right-handed batters against a lefty. So if you bunt them over, you got second and third with a couple of righties. Phillies could go to the pen, but I don't know if that would matter all that much.
Maybe sometimes they don't want to take the bat out of the hand of a right-handed hitter, and in this ballpark, small ballpark, get the sense that they're close to being one run up. With two men on base and the right-handed hitter. Be a different story in New York's stadium or Miami's stadium, where they're big ballparks.
Brandon Phillips takes a strike. Phillips is 1 for 3. He's grounded out. He struck out. He singled his last at bat.
This park's not playing small today, by the way, even though Marlon hit a nice home run to the opposite field. That wind's blowing straight in.
Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3, which Cliff Lee has done once today. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Wind is coming in. Phillies have 3 solo home runs here today. The 0-2 pitch. And he serves it toward the first base side, a foul ball. That was pretty close to some trouble right there.
Ryan Howard touched that ball, didn't it?
It did.
Great replay. Look at this.
Oh, just beyond his glove. Look at Billy Hatcher. Billy Hatcher saying that just that much.
If he touches that ball,
in fair territory.
Is it fair?
Yeah, in fair territory. Yep. Ground ball over the mound. Rollins will wait for it. He has it, throws to first, and it's not in time. Whoa. That was not an easy play. And here comes Ryan Sandberg. They may ask for this one to be replayed. They'll buy some time.
That was a great play by Jimmy, calling Chase off of that ball because the momentum's going toward first base. And it's another great play by Cliff. I think Cliff let the ball go almost. But the only way would be a pulled foot here. I can't imagine he beat this ball.
Oh, he did. Just barely. And Larry Boa says,
Is this the way this was intended to go, where the manager runs out and they wait for the guy to look at the replay? Is that the system that was intended?
I don't know if it was, but it's what's evolved.
I know.
It really has. I think it has, but I think it was. And now Sandberg's going to go out to talk to Lee with Frazier coming up. He's got Adams all warmed up in the bullpen. He may decide to go to the right-hander here.
He's got 116 pitches.
He hasn't signaled to the pen just yet. There it is. So that'll be it for Cliff Lee. He's done after 6 2/3. 2 base runners are his responsibility. He'll get a nice round of applause as he exits. Phillies have a 2-run lead. They'll go to the right-hander here with 2 outs in the 7th, leading it 4-2. May 29th. You see the Cliff Lee action figurine. Thanks to the folks from Total. That'll be free to fans 14 and under on Sunday, June 1st. That's the 1:35 start. Monday the 2nd is the rescheduled game from April 29th. So you can use the tickets from that day for that ball game. You can go to Phillies.com for more information. 2 outs here in the 7th. Runners on 1st and 3rd. And Mike Adams is warming up out on the mound. He'll take over for Cliff Lee. Adams in his 12th game, 2-1, an ERA of 3.72. And he's on to face Todd Frazier. Well, Mike Adams is one right-hander that's available today out of the bullpen. But Murph, for one last day, they've got another right-hander that's available out of the bullpen.
Yeah, the Phils still have Roberto Hernandez down in the bullpen because of the way the off days worked out. They were able to skip him in the rotation. I was talking to Ryan Sandberg about that today. He will pitch in the rotation on the 23rd, which is Friday, the first game against the Dodgers when the team comes back home. But he is available in the bullpen today, and this will be the last day he will be available. Then they'll have to get him back on his normal starting rotation.
Frazier's up. He's 0 for 3. Takes outside. I asked Roberto what he thought about working out of the bullpen. He said, I just do what I'm told. He said, but I do need work during this time off where he's not a starter. He said he does like the fact that he is getting work, whether it be warming up or even getting into games. Out toward left center field. Mayberry settles under it, and he will make the catch as the wind brings it all the way back, and the side is retired. So the move worked out well. Cliff Lee, pitcher record on the winning side right now as Mike Adams is able to get the final out here in the 7th inning. Well, we're going to stay here at Citizens Bank Park because we've got a special event taking place down on the field. 12-year-old Jocelyn Schreck is going to sing God Bless America here at Citizens Bank Park.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join Jocelyn Shank as she sings God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
How about Jocelyn
It's the 7th inning stretch. Please direct your attention to the broadcast booth
behind home plate.
Game, take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. Oh, it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Let's hear you, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Yo, VIP.
Well, Harry Canary entertaining the crowd here at Citizens Bank Park would take me out to the ball game right after a beautiful rendition. God Bless America by Jocelyn Shank. Way to go, Harry. Way to go. Well, the Superstars have been entertaining the crowd all day long here at Citizens Bank Park as part of the Phanatic's birthday celebration. And they are as entertaining as it gets. Not only Harry Canary up here, but also Clammy Sosa earlier. And Murph, I don't know how we segue this or not, but all I'm going to say is it's time for the Major League Notebook, so take it away.
That is a tough act to follow, no doubt about it. Brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy University. And a big blow to the Chicago White Sox. Rookie sensation Jose Abreu is headed to the disabled list, guys, with ankle tendonitis. During the first 6 weeks of the season, batting .260, 15 home runs, 42 RBIs. But he's been battling this injury. He's been DHing the last 10 games, but finally they gave in and had to put him on the DL, so he will be out for a little bit. And also heading to the DL is Gio Gonzalez of the Washington Nationals, dealing with shoulder inflammation. He has also been trying to pitch through the pain, but it has gotten too much. They're going to have to set him down. They're hoping that he'll miss just 2 starts. An MRI is scheduled for today. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Order has been restored here in the broadcast booth, as Harry Canary has somehow been able to exit this area. I'm not sure how, but that was funny. Well, the great Harry Carey would have loved that, because Harry Canary was able to provide some great entertainment here at Citizens Bank Park, like Harry Carey used to do at Wrigley Field. Here's Manny Parra to begin the bottom of the 7th. Facing Jimmy Rollins, it's 3 balls and no strikes. Rollins is 2 for 2. He walked in the 3rd. Mike, did you ever think when you got back into broadcasting that you shared the booth with an inflatable canary?
No telling what's going to happen these days. No telling. Entertainment. It's all about entertainment.
There's ball 4, and Rollins is aboard with a leadoff walk. It's 2 walks for Jimmy Rollins today. Roger Bernardino stays in the ballgame to play right field for the Reds. And here's Will Nieves.
A nice little 4-2 lead here would be a good time to get aggressive. Maybe put on a hit and run, see if they can get some first and third, and try to get that all-important 3-run lead.
Like you're thinking, because we have Will Nieves, who has never hit second before, but has had a perfect day, perfect sacrifice bunt, home run, and a line drive to right field. So he could probably do about anything right now, Matt.
Fouls it off. It's no balls and 2 strikes. We joke about Nieves, he's 5-2 as a starter so far this year, but it's going to be gratifying for him to have these kind of days when you don't get a chance to play that often, when you have a guy that's such a frontline catcher in Carlos Ruiz.
I don't know him, but he looks like a fun character.
He is. We had a great talk a couple of days ago, and talking about his batting practice and his approach when he plays, and just a happy-go-lucky guy, and says he knows he can hit. He has a lot of confidence when you step in that batter's box, and he says you haven't seen his dance yet on some takes. Apparently he has a pretty good dance.
Well, he was doing a little dance in there. I don't know if it was a frustration dance or what. Swing and a miss. And he is struck out, so he's retired for the first time today. Well, it's time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. Refresh everybody's memory again. The question was, which Phillies starter recorded a hit in all 11 NLCS games from 76 till 78. We say starter, we mean a position player who started and recorded a hit in all 11 National League Championship Series games. What do you guys think?
Well, Matty gave it to me. It was a teammate of mine, and I must admit the first name I wrote down was Larry Boa, which is not correct. Yeah. But I do know now that the answer is Greg the Bull Luzinski.
Greg Luzinski is correct. Back on the Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Bull's Barbecue, always a popular spot here at Citizens Bank Park. Schmitty, did you know that that Bull coached Murph in high school at Holy Cross High School?
Is that what? Is that why he's trying out for the Phanatic?
I don't know, Murph. Is that why you were trying out to be the Phanatic?
Let's not blame Bull for my lack of ability to play. That's for sure. He did the best he could with what I had.
No balls and 2 strikes, 1 man down here in the 7th. Swing and a miss. Pretty good breaking ball right there, and Utley is struck out, so 2 away. Kind of a teammate was the Bull, Mike. I mean, obviously, you guys were 1, 2, 3, 4 basically in the order.
Fantastic. You know, Greg was a great hitter. Greg hit 300 a lot of the time. I mean, he could fight that ball with 2 strikes off over to second. He was great at getting runners in from second base with 2 outs. Sort of the opposite of me. I wasn't that great at that. Greg was the good, solid RBI man. He hid behind me a lot of the early days of my career. And, the respect they had for him probably got me a lot of fastballs over the years. And Greg worked hard on his defense in left field. Great individual. He kept Boa in line. Had to smack Boa around a little bit in the clubhouse occasionally. And there, back in Ovett Stadium, there were 3 or 4 seats in left field in the upper deck with the bullseyes on them.
A strong man.
He could hit them far.
Now, he made the transition to left field, too. He wasn't a left fielder in the minor leagues.
I believe he was a first baseman in early days in the minor leagues.
One ball and 1 strike to Ryan Howard. And it's 1-2. That ball drops in. Takes off. That ball is smoked into the sweet level. Oof.
Wow. Yeah. That's where you need to have your glove.
Howard trying to get his first hit of the series. He's 0 for 9. Ball upstairs. Rollins will definitely be off and running on this one with Marlon Byrd on deck.
There's a short, quick, compact stroke. Wait on the ball, identify it, and be willing to take the base on balls if it's there. It'll make you a better hitter.
And low ball four.
That's it.
Yep. Second time today he's worked out a walk. See how frustrated Parr is, because now he's got to deal with the right-handed batter instead of the lefty Howard.
Now he might be coming out of the game.
They did have a right-hander up when Parra came into the game. That's what Marlon Byrd did his last time up to the plate.
Got a pitch other half the plate. Didn't try to do too much of it. Put a nice short compact swing and drove to right field for a solo home run.
Well, now Marlon up again here, 1 for 3. Looks like Mike Adams will pitch at least to start the top of the 8th inning. Nobody warming up in the pen for the Phils. Fastball in there, 0-1. And that one is lofted toward the middle into center field, a base hit. Rollins around third, heading for home. No throw by Hamilton. It's 5-2 Phillies. Second RBI of the day for Marlon Byrd. Boy, how big was that walk to Howard now?
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say what set that up was Ryan Howard's willingness to lay off that 3-2 ball out of the hitting zone and give Marlon Byrd a chance to do his thing. That's what the game's all about. It's called passing the baton to the guy behind you. Great, and Matty, you like that, right? You like them when they stay in the middle of the field, especially with men on base.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do. And what I noticed, the first 2 at bats, he was over swinging at the high fastball. And you have to back something off when you're swinging to get on top of that ball to make a contact. And it started with the home run to right field, followed by a base up the middle.
Now Cody Asche, who takes a breaking ball for a strike. It's 0-1. Phillies have done a lot of good things these last couple of days. Now, whether that's going to get them out of this offensive slumber, I mean, it seems like it's starting to. They have 8 hits here today, 5 runs on 8 hits.
Did you ever notice, though, the Phillies start hitting well, and then they get that off day coming up? You hated having days off when you start feeling good at the plate. I was probably the dumbest hitter because I felt really good just before the All-Star break and right when the season was about to finish.
There's a line drive toward right field. It's pretty deep. Bernardino's going back, and it is gone. A home run for Cody Asche. A 3-run shot. He stayed in on the left-hander, and the Phillies have busted this ball game wide open. It's an 8-2 game.
I don't know. I see a great young hitter that is all of a sudden found some confidence. You know what I mean? So some sense of I belong. I'm a good hitter. I belong in the big leagues. People are starting to respect me. You know, all those good things you need. And that's what I see. I don't see a young man that's changed his stroke or done anything. I see a young man with confidence and patience.
Well, he's now 7 for 12 in this series alone against the Reds. A lot of damage too against some left-handers. All of a sudden his average is close to 260.
And you know what? In my mind, if Ryan Sandberg likes Jimmy Rollins in the leadoff hitter, don't be surprised at some point this season you see Cody Asche in the 2-hole. Left-handed hitter, use the hole by first base with a man on first base, moves the ball around, relaxed, got a good eye. Don't be surprised if he hadn't cut out to be a 2-hole hitter, and a good one.
Maybe you could mix it up, Asche against righties and somebody else, whether it be Ruiz or someone else against lefties. If you're not totally sure against both, although he's hitting lefties these last few days. That'll do it for the 7th inning. Big swing by Cody Asche, a 3-run home run. Cody produced last night, and he produces again here today. This 3-run bomb gives the Phils an 8-2 lead as we go to the 8th inning here in Philadelphia. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer, shophonda.com. Buy Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Fed by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at chevydealer.com. Top of the 8th inning, 8-2 Phillies on top, so they followed up a 12-run game yesterday with an 8-run game here today. And Mesoraco will face Mike Adams as we begin the 8th. Boy, if you're the starting pitchers these last couple of days, you're feeling pretty good about things, the way the offense has found a little life against these Cincinnati Reds.
Well, it just helps the starting pitchers relax a little bit and realize they don't have to hit the corner on every pitch and worried about making a mistake because the offense is struggling. Now all of a sudden you can be aggressive, pound the strike zone, knowing that your offense is in the swing of things and putting some quality at bats out there.
Now the 0-2 pitch coming to Mesoraco. Lays off. It's 1-2. Well, the Phillies also have used the long ball these last couple of days. I mean, today alone, they had 4 home runs. They had 11 here at Citizens Bank Park coming into this series. That was all part of what was kind of bewildering, the struggles here at home and the lack of offense. That'll be back into the seats. Rollins, Byrd, Nieves, Asche.
All the way through the order. Everybody's getting a little piece. It's a good thing.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Pretty close, 2-2.
Plus, we still have Ryan Howard getting hot to look forward to.
That's the part of it, too. During the first part of the season when the Phillies were struggling, and even since Monday against the Mets, they'd have 1 or 2 guys in the order, but not, 3 or 4. Boy, Mesoraco is scorching hot. And he's got one off the wall. He'll take the turnaround first, and he's going to hold up there. Dominic Brown played that exceptionally well, and Mesoraco has to hold up with his 4th hit of the day. He was hoping for his 3rd double of the day. And Matt, the way he played this, he gave himself some room from the wall He didn't go too close to it and was able to turn and make this throw.
Right, and you want to try to get together double. If you know you can't get back there and catch it, now you try to play the proper angle. You know, Dominic Brown's coming up and he's been showing off his arm, throwing extremely well, and well played off the wall. The worst thing you want to do is going back and taking a bad leap for it, and all of a sudden you give him an easy stand-up double.
Or even getting too close to the wall to play the carom, and then he goes to the right or left.
And in these ballparks, you can play shallow. There's usually a ball that's head over your head, like that one's either off the wall or it's going to be 5 or 6 rows or maybe second deck.
Ryan Ludwig is 1 for 3. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Ground ball left side. Rollins backhands, throws to second in time. Well, he knew who was running and he knew he had time. Monday night at 6:30-11. Speaking of Jimmy Rollins, we'll take a look inside Jimmy's Bollywood charity event, plus a look back at Mike Trout's long-awaited debut at Citizens Bank Park. All this and more in Phillies Clubhouse, presented by Mercedes-Benz on Comcast Sportsnet.
Good play by Jimmy. There's no chance for a double play on that ball, and just make a nice clean backhanded catch and accurate throw to Chase and just take your one. You just got to know that you can't turn 2 on a ball like that.
Cozart pops it up, and that'll be back into the seats 0-1. Mentioned Mike Trout. He was back this week in this area. He grew up 45 minutes away in Millville, New Jersey. I don't know if you caught the game or not, Mike, but what a reception he received when he came to the plate for the first time.
I did not know he was from this area, and I did not see the reception. I didn't see the first couple innings of that game. I saw the rest of the game, but that's honorable that people would know that where he's from, and he grew up here, and it's a great amateur career around here, and gave him that kind of a reception.
Foul ball. Did you get that reception when you went back to Cincinnati?
Well, that was a little bit further away from Dayton up the road. No, I can't say as I did.
Matt used to get that kind of reception in Montreal or Toronto, right? Only when you played there?
Only when I played there.
Only when you played for them?
All these teams are running together. I can't remember.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Cozart. And that'll be back into the seats as well. It remains 1-2.
And what was the university he turned down? East Carolina?
East Carolina. A very good baseball program.
See, I got that wrong last on the trivia question, but I'll never forget it.
You had the state right. You just didn't have the same, didn't have the geography of the state correct.
How about a slider 6-4-3 double play?
I'll take that.
What are the odds of a kid becoming this much of a phenomenon in our sport at the major league level who was going to East Carolina? No disrespect, but wouldn't you think?
It's a good point.
Was he a high school top player in the country, or did this all happen overnight?
Well, he talks about, and it's kind of interesting. In this day and age, he talks about doing it kind of for the Northeast. He said sometimes Northeast baseball, because they don't play as many games as in Texas or Florida or California because of the weather. Northeast baseball sometimes gets overlooked because of the weather, because of limited amount of games during the high school season. So that's what people point to is, maybe people saw him in showcases and things like that, but didn't see enough of him, even though he had a good high school career. And a call, strike 3, 2 outs. Mike Trout, the Millville Meteor, 2012 American League Rookie of the Year. First player in Major League history to hit 30 home runs, steal 45 bases, and score 125 runs in one season.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, he hit that triple the other day, and he was moving around the bases. Soto takes low.
Maybe the answer to that question I asked you is bad scouting.
Well, you know, it's funny because he was the 25th pick overall by the Angels that year when he was selected. But looking at him now, you're thinking, how is he not the #1 overall pick?
Ever.
Yeah, even though it was Strasburg who was taken #1. One ball and one strike to Soto. Ludwig at first, not being held on. Ludwig goes. Pitch is taken just off the outside corner. Yeah, they'll score that defensive indifference. And there's a strike. It's 2-2. Adams got pretty good life on his fastball here in this inning and a third.
Well, this is a key pitcher to the Phillies bullpen rotation. Everybody knows that guy in the 8th inning, if you're going to put together any kind of a long-term run at postseason baseball, this guy is a major key for your bullpen.
Over to second base. Utley can't grab it. Rounding third, heading for home is Ludwig. He'll score. It's an 8-3 ball game.
As Chase had that to do over again, I think he tried to get his body in front of that ball.
Well, they scored an error. That's his third of the season.
Well, it was hit hard. I just think he could have made, another move to his right, one more step, and he'd have got in front of it.
Well, here's Bernardina up for the second time. Bernardina reached base his first time up with a single down the left field line. Ball one ball, no strikes. Bernardina played for the Phils last year for a small portion of the season. Fly ball toward left. John Mayberry, Dominic Brown are both there. It's Brown who puts it away. Side is retired. The Reds do score an unearned run here in the 8th inning. We've completed 7.5. We go to the bottom of the 8th here in Philadelphia. It's 8-3. Phillies on top. Top as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Let's take a look at our Subway in-game winning box score. And just like last night, it belongs to the Phillies at this point. The Phillies have had some production from Marlon Byrd, Cody Asche. They both homered, along with Willie Abace and Jimmy Rollins. Even Chase Utley, who's 0 for 4, does have an RBI on that ground out. Ryan Howard has a couple of walks, including a big one, his last time up in the 7th inning. So as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Jonathan Broxton will be the new pitcher. Broxton was closing until Aroldis Chapman came back from the disabled list. Broxton, his 10th ball game. Pretty good ERA. And he'll face John Mayberry. Looks like Cesar Hernandez in the on-deck circle. And then the top of the order for the Phillies here in the bottom of the 8th. In an 8-3 game. And Broxton delivers a strike. Matt, you want to give us a scouting report on Jonathan Broxton?
Good fastball, 95. Good slider. 2-pitch pitcher. Needs to hit the glove. Location.
I thought it was more like 100, 102.
It went 102 miles. The big guy, boy, he does throw hard. Remember when he first came up with the Dodgers, how he was in the high 90s. Popped him up left side of the infield. Frazier makes the call, 1 away.
Here we go.
Game 4 of the NLCS, a beautiful moon. That wasn't what everybody was looking for, though. Bam.
Heat hot.
When he gets beat up in the dugout, we were talking about this last night. Comes in, his teammates.
Yeah, I saw that.
Went out to that spot when we were in Los Angeles. Murph did with Matt. And, that was a shot.
That was a cool opening. It
was far.
That was nice.
Cesar Hernandez, the pinch hitter for the Phillies. I thought Matt and Jeff kind of talked about something last night, Mike, and I thought it was pretty neat. But they both talked about some defining hits that they had in their careers. That one for Matt, I mean, he had a number of others, but that one was a huge one. And then Jenkins had the double.
Watched it. Yes,
Yep.
I did.
And that was kind of neat to hear both those guys talk about defining hits, those defining moments during careers in the big leagues.
I had a big defining moment when Del Unser got a base hit to knock in the tying run after I struck out in the 1980 playoffs against Houston.
See that? The teammates picking each other up. Outside, it's 1-2. Hernandez hitting .250 at his first major league home run in last night's ball game. Just a bit outside, 2-2.
A little size mismatch here between pitcher and hitter.
Big time. Big time. Well, here's his first major league home run.
He's awesome. He was almost like a tippy toe swing. It was a fastball inside.
Yes, it was. Off the plate.
Yep. Jumped ahead to right field and took 18 seconds to get around the bases. I thought he was going to slow down and enjoy it. Just, at least 22 or 23 seconds.
Nobody ran faster with their first major league home run than Utley did when he hit his at Veterans Stadium. Check swing, now 3-2. Chase hit his home run, and I mean, he was around. He was around the bases in a matter of seconds. Fly ball toward left. Ludwig comes lumbering in, and there are 2 outs. And Jimmy Rollins is coming up. Now, the Phillies have had some dividing moments against Jonathan Broxton. This is 2009 in the National League Championship Series. How about this? This ball ripped into the alleyway, and Carlos Ruiz was able to hustle all the way around the bases to score. That was an incredible moment. Jimmy Rollins with that game winner. This place was going nuts.
It wasn't actually. I pinched hit, walked, and then I believe Chooch ran for me, and then Jimmy hit the ball to right center to win the game. And I remember running up to third base celebrating, and straining my calf. I'm like, well, good thing I didn't get a pinch ran for.
Outside corner, it's 0-1. There's Carlos. Just remember that ball when it went into the gap in right center field. It seemed like it took forever to get to the scoreboard. You know, it's almost as if the gap widened and got longer and longer and longer. Up high, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Any chance? How many does Jimmy need now? 20, 21?
He picked up 1, 2 today. So he is
2,214.
Yeah, so he's retired there, so he needs 22 at this point. 1-2-3 inning here in the 8th. We go to the 9th. The Phillies on top, 8-3. Our Hyundai defensive play of the game. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. And here's Cody Asche with a little barehanded play over third.
Yeah, very nice play. Cody made a play last night coming in. Didn't panic. Made a very nice barehanded play. Threw a strong throw to Ryan Howard. You get a big out right there. And that is your defensive play of the game, brought to you by Hyundai.
Cody's made a couple of those over the last couple of days. By the way, we have to correct ourselves. Rollins, I have to correct myself. Rollins does not have 2 hits today. He has 1 because that 1 was changed to a fielder's choice. So he is 21 away from tying Mike.
And let it be known that I was fighting up here for him to get a hit on that
That's
ball.
exactly right. home run was his only hit here today, but that got the Phillies rolling here this afternoon. They trailed at 2-0, and now they lead at 8-3. Antonio Bastardo will try to get the last 3 outs here in the ninth. Fans, follow every Phillies game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store. Visit Phillies.com today. So Bastardo trying to wrap this up here for the Phillies, trying to take the series. Billy Hamilton takes a strike. It's 0-1. I am really interested to see how productive this kid is, Hamilton, as his career progresses in the big leagues. What kind of hitter he becomes. That one is back behind home plate, not a play.
We used to have a hitter, Vince Coleman, with the Cardinals. That this kid reminds me a lot of. I haven't seen that much of him, though, but you talk about a disruptor on the bases. Coleman used to drive everybody crazy when he was on the bases, especially me when he was on second base.
0-2 pitch to him. Swing and a miss. He got him. One away. Well, it was Vince Coleman's record that he broke with those 155 minor league steals. As promised earlier in the game, we have the AT&T fan photo of the game. This photo coming from Gallo Says. Good day at the ballpark. They were just married. Huh.
Very congratulations, Gallo Says.
Your Schmitty jersey and your Pete Rose jersey.
There you go.
And also Jim Bunning. Tweet your photo, hashtag Philly fan photo, for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Dominic Brown really had trouble with that one. I guess that's an understatement, and there are 2 outs.
You've been there, right? Ball in the seats, can't pick it out.
Actually, I'm going to say it was in the lights. They actually have the lights on
they
right
are
now.
on, yep.
And the way he put his glove up right away, it seemed like he got in that light tower and he fought it the whole way. And there's the lights right there that gave him a hard time.
Boy, you are red hot today with that telestrator.
I'm telling you.
Brandon Phillips is the batter. He's 1 for 4. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Well, if the Phillies can finish off the Reds here today, they lead at 8-3. This will stabilize things a little bit. They'll pull within 3 games from the 500 mark. St. Louis is leading the Braves right now. And even though the Phillies are 3 under 500, they're only 3.5 out. If they win today, depending on what Washington won 6-3, they could be 3 out. It's just really odd the way this division is, at least at this point. And the offense come to life the last 2 games, 20 runs.
And Cliff Lee get his first win at home.
This will be out of play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes, so 1 strike away. Crowds start to come to their feet, celebrating the Phanatic's birthday here today, hoping to celebrate a victory along the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One last souvenir. Well, this Tuesday, the Phillies will be in Miami to take on the Marlins. It will be on the air at 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. Phillies pregame live gets underway at 6:30. Check swing. Did he go? No.
What's the rotation? Are we going to get a look at Fernandez down there?
No, he's out. Tommy John surgery. He is going to be out. It's shocking after the way he threw to start the season. He's throwing 92 in the game against the Padres and started shaking his arm out.
Didn't realize that.
3-2 pitch. That one pulled foul, and it remains 3-2. 19, I think it's up to 19 pitchers have had Tommy John surgery already this year. 19.
1 out of every 4 pitcher will have Tommy John surgery. Stat came out, which is remarkable.
DeSclafani, Evaldi, and Alvarez are the 3 pitchers for the Marlins this week. Phillies trying to polish off the Reds. And now the 3-2 pitch. Fouled away again. Ball 4. So the 9th inning will continue. A walk to Brandon Phillips. Reminder after the ball game, Ricky Vitalico will break down Cliff Lee's performance and the Phillies overall on Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post Game Live. That's coming up right after this one comes to a close. Todd Frazier's the batter. He's 0 for 4. Frazier had a 14-game hitting streak stopped the other night. Had a hit in yesterday's game. Phillips goes, which is swung on and missed. Looks like the Avies may have gotten on the backswing. That slider just ate up the Avies. Quick he asked for a baseball too. Frazier just asked if that pitch was a strike. He was pretty close to the outside corner. And the count is even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Stardo's ready, so is Frazier.
Can't get that last out. I'm just glad we got a 5-run lead.
It's like 5 foul balls with 2 strikes between Frazier and Phillips. Frazier batting cleanup for the Reds with Jay Bruce out, Votto out. The 2-2 pitch. Another foul ball, and it remains 2-2. Boy, Antonio's just looking for that one pitch that it can get Frazier off balance to get it by him. This will be the 7th pitch of this at bat to Todd Frazier. And it's 3-2. Well, the good thing is that guy can't tie the game, Mesoraco. He's working on a 4-hit day, 2 doubles, 2 singles. He's on deck. Man, that bat he's using looks like it's been worn down. 3 balls and 2 strikes Swing and a miss. He got him. And the Phillies have taken 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds as Antonio Bastardo is able to close the door on an 8-3 victory. Well, Cliff Lee finally does get a victory here at home. And the Phillies offense has come to life these last 2 days. They've scored 20 runs in each, or 21s combined in the last 2 days. Cody Asche is our Chevrolet player of the game, 2 for 4. A home run and 3 RBIs. His average is climbing. His power numbers are climbing. And his RBI total is climbing as well. And with all that said, maybe his confidence is climbing with each passing at bat. So he's got some pretty good production from Will Nieves in the 2-hole, playing for Carlos Ruiz. Well, here's our W base delivery of the game. It wasn't so much what Asche or Nieves or Rollins did. It's what Cliff Lee did in the 5th inning.
Well, he went out there and got the base hit to left field. Typical left-hander swing, nice, easy to left field. Gets to second base here on a bobble at third base. Decides not to slide. Does the El Tipito, stays there. Then he has a nice secondary lead. Getting in here and does the latest slide pop up at third base. And then Chase Utley hits the ground ball to first base, and there he is off to the races again. Accelerating through the bag and stand up, run scored.
Well, that turns out to be our W base delivery of the game because that gave the Phillies the lead for good. How about the day and the weekend Cody Asche had for the Phils? It was a good one. He's down in the field with Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, first and foremost, Cody, this team needed a series win. You get it against Cincinnati, and you do it with some really terrific offensive performances. How important was that?
I think it was important. Our pitchers have really been battling here the last 5-6 games, and we've let a couple slip away. But I think it's important, to back Cole and Cliff the last 2 days, give them some run support, let them settle in, and just do their thing.
All right, for you, particularly 7 for 12 in this series, back-to-back games with 3 RBIs. Obviously, you're seeing the ball real well right now, and you're feeling pretty confident up there.
Yeah, when you swing at strikes and let the balls go, good things will happen more times than not. So that's what I'm really just focusing on, having good at-bats, swinging at strikes, and letting the ball go where it may.
You and I talked before the game, and I asked you about, jumping up one spot in the lineup to number 6 and asking if it was a little bit of a vote of confidence for you, but you said what?
I said, I just want to be in the lineup. That's all I really, really want. I just want to play every day and, give the coaching staff an easy decision, to pencil me in there. So it really doesn't matter where I hit. I'm just happy to be in there and looking for a way to help the team win.
Normally an off day is a good thing. You have one tomorrow, but I got to imagine you want to keep playing.
Yeah, we got a good opportunity to raise some money for a good cause. I think everybody's excited about that. Anytime you get a chance to give back, I love those things.
All right, well said, Cody. Thank you very much for your time. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Yeah, the Phillies ALS auction is tomorrow. The ALS Festival here at Citizens Bank Park. There's the final out as Antonio Bastardo gets Frazier swinging on strikes. High fives for everyone around. The Phillies have taken 2 of 3 from the Reds. We'll be back to wrap things up from Citizens Bank Park after this.